Hi guys, it's Roy from Bellados 3D here with another Blender video tutorial. And in this tutorial we will be creating a low poly stylized tankard. So let's get straight to the modeling. Okay, let's get started. First things first, let's get rid of this default cube. My default cube. As you can see, I've got my textures all set up ready, so I can just apply them to the model. Screencast keys are showing down here in the bottom right hand corner, and we're going to start with a cylinder, and that cylinder is going to be 12 vertices and with no cap fill type, so it's a hollow tube. Right, okay, in the front there, let's have a look. I'm going to scale this just a touch in the Z axis by pressing S and then Z, and I think that'll be about enough. And then if I go into Edge Select and press Alt, left click on the bottom there, I can then scale that out a bit. And it just needs to be a little bit. I'm also going to put two loops in here, and I'm just going to scale them in, excluding the Z axis by pressing Shift Z, and just bring that in just a slight bit. Doesn't have to be a lot. Okay, right. Now what I need to do is I need to make it look like it's made up of lots of little pieces of wood. So I'm going to go into face mode with 3. I'm going to Alt left click on every other face loop, like this. Oh, I think I missed one. Yeah. Silly me. There we go. And I'm going to press Y to separate them, because and by pressing Y, what happens now is if I move it, they're all separate, which means I can now work with these as separate pieces. So I'm going to go into the modifier tab, and I'm going to go down to the solidify modifier, and I'm going to, let's take a look. I think that's going in, but I want it to go out. That's out, in. So I'm going down like so, just far enough to give it the thickness needed. I'd say that would be about that. And then on top of this bevel modifier, on top of the solidify modifier, I'm going to add a bevel modifier. And what that will do is it will give it a nice little rounding on the edges. So I can then reduce that down because we don't need it that high. Maybe 0.005. Or maybe 0.01. Yeah, that should be enough there. Just to give it a bit more roundness. In fact, I might bring it up a little bit more. There we go. And let's go back into object mode, right click and shade smooth. And then if we, under the bevel, we limit the method to angle. And I'm going to bump that up to 60. And what that does is it stops it from beveling the horizontal loops that we put into the model there. And now we go down to the object data tab, to the normals and auto smooth, and again bump that up to 60. That should give us a nice sharp looking edge around there. Yeah, that's fine. Before I do anything else, I'm going to add the material to this in edit mode. Well, it doesn't have to be in edit mode, in any mode will do. Select the palette, and then I'm going to press U and R to reset the map. So I'm going to turn on rendered so we can see what we're doing. And then over the UV map, AS and 0 to bring it into a 0 space. And I'm going to bring it up to this brown here. And that gives us a nice brown colour. But I'm not finished yet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to unselect everything, and hovering over every other loop, I'm going to press L. And that selects just that loop. And I'm going to move that colour one up to the next colour there, and that just gives it a tiny little bit of variation. It's barely visible, but it's enough to give it a nice little bit of variation. And I think I'm going to scale this up in the Z-axis a little. SZ, scale it up in the X-axis a little bit just to give it a bit more height. And I think that'll be about right just there. Yeah, that's about right. Okay, now what I need to do is take a look at the these. Right, what I need to do is back in edit mode, I need to create another cylinder because I'm going to create the metal bands around the object. So in edit mode with everything selected, I'm going to put it in wireframe mode. And why can't I see through that? That's strange. There we go. I'm going to press S excluding the Z and bring that out to about there, and then press SZ and bring that all the way in, and we want a band about that size, and then I'm just going to move that up to about there, I would say. Okay, now let's come out of wireframe because we don't need to be in wireframe anymore. I'm going into edge mode with 2, and I'm going to alt click this top loop and shift alt click this bottom loop. I'm going to press E, and which extrudes. I'm going to right click to snap it back into place, and I'm going to press S and shift Z to exclude the Z axis to bring it in like so. And there's the start of our band. And what I'll need to do now is again select these 2 edges with alt select. I'm going to press Control B and I'm going to bevel that. I'm going to scroll up for 1 more loop to give it 2 loops to give it a nice little curve on there. If I go back into object mode, shade smooth, and again remember to turn the auto smooth on the normals like so. Now I'm going to give that a material, U and R to reset the UVs, A, S and 0 to bring it to a 0 space, and I think I will give it a nice metal colour about there. I think that looks about right. Yeah, that looks about right to me. Wonderful. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to copy this with Shift D and right click to snap it back into position, and GZ to bring it down, and we want to bring it down to about here. Now obviously it's inside the model, so I'm going to go into edit mode, and in face mode I'm going to alt click the loop there and then press control plus, and then I'm going to press S and Shift Z to exclude the Z axis and just bring that out. And I just want to bring it out far enough there so it's sticking out. Okay, and then what I want to do with this one is in edit mode, I'm going to press Shift Z to go into X-ray mode. I'm going to select these top vertices like so, and I'm going to press S, Shift Z to exclude the Z. I'm just going to bring that in so that it follows the contour of the wood. Okay, so we now have our metal bands. What do we need to make now? And I think we need to make a base for this at the bottom, don't we? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press 7 on my numpad to go into the top view. I'm going to press Shift A, Mesh and Cube. And I'm going to scale that on, go into edit mode, selecting everything, S and X, bring it in. And I think I want 3 beams or bars or whatever they're called, panels on there. So I'll now Shift D, G, X and bring it close up to there. I'm going to switch my snapping to edge select, and I'm going to GX and press Control and snap it to this edge here. And then I'm going to do Shift D again, bring that all the way across there, and then if I hover over this edge, I can press G, X, and then press Control, and it will snap to that piece there. Okay, so we'll select all of the tops pieces, go into front mode, turn on X-ray mode with Alt Z, and press GZ to bring them down, and we want to bring them down to about the height of a, there we go, about the height of a plank or beam or whatever they're called. Right, and then select everything, GZ, and bring it down to about here. Now if I press Control and 7 on the numpad, That will then bring me up to the bottom orthographic view so I can see the underside of it. And what I want to do is I want to add 2 loops to each of the side pieces here. Oops. And with edge mode selected, I'm going to select this edge here and this edge here and press SX and just bring them out so they're inside the wood, like so. And now I can go into vertex mode with 1. I can select this vertex here and I can bring that in like so, so that it's not over the edges. And I think I might need to bring this one GY, bring that up to there, and GY, bring that up to there, and then just bring this in like so, just so that it's not around the edges. It's not there's no gaps in the bottom of it. Okay, let's come out of X-ray mode and let's have a look. And everything seems to have disappeared. Oh no, it just seems to be really see-through. Okay, let's give it a texture. And U and R, A, S and 0, and we will give it the wood colours just here. So that brings that out like so. I've got a feeling there's something strange going on there, so I'm going to just hide this for a minute. And no, that looks fine. That does look fine. Okay, let's go into this piece, and I'm going to press L over this piece and hide it. And what I need to do is press 3 to go into face mode, Alt select this edge loop here, excluding these 2 pieces here, so remove them, and we're going to delete them because we don't need them. And again, these outer pieces on here, we don't need them. But what I do need to do is in edge mode, Alt click that loop, Alt click that loop, Alt click this one, and Alt click this one, press Ctrl B and bring it out just like so. Now if I press Alt H, I can then select the whole of this model here. Sorry, in face mode, select the 2 end pieces here, press X and F, X and F, there we go, and then press L over this piece and Control B, and we'll bevel that in just about there. Now we don't need these pieces in the middle, so we delete them. And if we go back into object mode and press Alt Hide, we can now see if we have a bit of light in there. Let's see if we can get a bit of light in there. G to Z, bring that down. And is there a bit more light? You can see the difference between the pieces here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select this piece here, and I'm going to change that wood to the next colour along. Just there. Just to give it a bit of difference on there. Of course, it's difficult to see in there because we haven't got the light. Let's turn on. There we go, viewport settings. Now I think what we might need to do is I might need to just adjust these bevels a little bit. So I'm going to select this piece here and Control Plus. And I'm going to go S and X and just bring that in. And I'm going to do the same on here. Control Plus and S and X and bring it slightly out. And it just gives it a bit more definition of that piece there. Right, that's the main part of the mug. I'm going to go through these and I'm going to press Ctrl A in the modifiers tab just to clear the modifiers on them, so I can then select all of these pieces with Shift Select. And next one. And press Ctrl J to join them so they're all one piece. Right, let's see. What do we need now? We need the handle. So I think the handle, again, it's going to be another cylinder. So Shift A, mesh, and cylinder. And, oh, that's right down there because I've moved that. Let's reset the position of that. So what we do is we'll select the object, press N and go to the transform tab, and hovering over the location, press backspace, and that brings that up like so. And I missed one. It's a good job I missed that. Control Z, select that, and select that, and Control J, and then reset the transform. Okay, so now I'm gonna delete that cylinder that I just made because I need to change the vertices on it. So Shift A, mesh, and cylinder. And for the handles, I'm going to drop it down to 8 vertices. We don't need so many. Let's go into tab mode. I'm going to GX, move everything to the right, and RY 90, enter to rotate it. I'm just going to line it up a bit with this piece here, and then I'm going to press S to shrink it down, and SX to bring it out a bit, GX to bring it back in line. And then if I press the period key on the numpad, I can zoom right into that, and I can move that around like so. And I maybe want that a slightly bit smaller. And GX, that should work about right there. Excellent. And there we have our first part of our handle. I'm going to need to press Shift D to duplicate that, and G and Z to bring that all the way down. So we have 2 pieces. And yep, that's about right positioning. Okay, I'm going back into object mode. I'm going to right click and shade smooth and turn on the auto smooth. And then I'm in the edit mode, A to select everything, U, R to reset the UVs, and then I'm going to give it the palette material, AS0, and then bring it up to here. Now I want to put it on a slightly lighter colour because then it gives it a little bit more contrast between the different colours. If you look, I think that's a bit light, so I'm going to bring it up 1 to about there, and I think that's about right. Now we need to add the actual wooden handle piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a cube, and cube, Shift A, mesh, and cube, and in edit mode, GX, bring it out so it's about halfway there, SX, bring it in, and I want it about this sort of size. Yeah, I'm going to bring it back in a little bit like so, probably about there. S and Z to bring it up, and I don't want it quite as big as the rest of the mug, just a little bit shorter. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into right orthographic mode and Shift SY and bring it into the width, nice width of a handle there, so about there, I would say, and that will give it a nice chunky sort of handle on there. Right, I'm going to put 2 edge loops in there by Control R and scrolling the wheel up once. And what I want to do is in front mode, I'm going to press GX and to bring them back just a little bit, just a touch, and then I'm going to press Control B and scroll down to make sure there's only 2 loops, and just bring that up so fairly equal amount there, and that gives it a nice little bit of a curve there. And then in right orthographic, what I want to do is I want to press 3 to go into face mode. If I alt click on this edge piece here, I can then press SY, bring that in just a touch. And then in edge mode, I can do the same with these pieces. SY, and just bring it in just a touch. So it gives it a bit of a curve on the edge. Now what I want to do is I want to bevel it. So I'm going to select all the outer edges and the outer edges only. And these top pieces here and the bottom pieces here, and Control B, and we'll bring that out and scroll it up once to about there. Okay, now back in object mode, I'm going to right click, shade smooth, go into the object data tab, auto smooth, and bump it up to 60. And again, in edit mode, U are to reset the UVs, add the palette texture, and over the UV window, A to select everything, S to scale to 0, enter, and I'm going to move that up here to this brown here, and that gives me my handle. Just a few more things to do now. I'm going back into these pieces here, and I'm going to take the end piece, Alt and left click the end piece there. I'm going to press F, and then I'm going to press I and bring that in, and G and X to bring that out a little bit. It'll be easier if I go into front mode, and then I'm going to I to bring that in, and G and X to bring that out a little bit more, and that will give me my little bolt shape to it. Now if I press Control plus, I can GX, bring that out a little bit more just to give it a bit more prominence. And then I want to do the same with this piece here. So I'm going to bring that out a little bit just to give it a bit of prominence. And then I'm going to fill it. I'm going to press I, and from the front, G and X. And then again, I, and from the front, G and X. And it just gives it a little bit more prominence there, so it looks like it's bolted all the way through. Excellent. And now the last thing I want to do is I want to create some bolts or screws on the side of here. So I'm going to go into this piece here, and I'm going to, in face mode, select this face. I'm going to press Shift and S, cursor to selected, come back out into object mode, and all I want is a cylinder. So Shift A, mesh and cylinder, and that's way too big, but we'll sort that out. So press tab to go into edit mode, scale it right down on it teeny tiny. There we go. And what I want to do is I want to try and rotate that on the x-axis 90 degrees. And with 2 selected, select the edge around the loop, as we did with the end of this piece over here. I'm going to fill it, inset and inset, and then I'm going to select this loop here, GY, bring it out, and then select the centerpiece, GY, and bring it out. It doesn't need to be that big. So if I go into X-ray mode, I'm going to just select this edge here, GY, and it only needs to be a tiny little piece like so. And Shift Z. Now what I want to do is, in top view, rotate that round like so. And that should move that into there. Now when you're moving things in object mode, you must make sure when you're done to apply the transforms, because they can make a mess of modifiers if you don't apply them. Scale that down just a touch more, like so. That needs to come out a bit, about there. Excellent. Right, so what I want to do, now that I've finished scaling and rotating and moving it, if I press Control and A with it selected, I can hit rotation and scale. As you can see, it clears the rotation and the scale on the end menu there. Right, now a little trick here, I'm going to press 7 to go and stop top view mode. I'm going to press Shift C to bring the cursor back into the middle. And I'm going to switch my pivot point to 3D cursor, like so. I'm going to add the material to it, palette, and in edit mode, select it all, U and R, AS and 0, and I'm going to bring that down to this one here. So it's slightly different to the others. I'm going to shade smooth, and again, turn on auto smooth, just there. Right, okay, let's go back. Top view, I Shift D to duplicate. I can now press R, Z, and rotate around the cursor in the middle. So I can get all these on every other one of these panels on the side there. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to select, no, select 3 of them. Make sure one of them's highlighted. Shift D and R, Z, Z. And we'll bring that all the way around like so. And I think we just need, that's, oh, I see, yes. R, Z, just needs to go around one more. Thought I'd made a mistake for a moment there. And as you can see, we now have our bolts in the top there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this one here because it's a little bit close to that handle. I don't think we need one on the handle like so. Now I'm just going to duplicate one of these. And from front view, G and Z, and bring it down. And I'm going to press Control 7 to get the bottom view in so it's easier to see. I'm just going to move that out to about, that should put that on the bottom there. And I'm going to use exactly the same method. Press 7 on the numpad, Shift D, R, Z, and bring it round to the next one. Shift D, R, Z, bring it round to the next one. Shift D, R, Z, bring it round to the next one. And yeah, we'll get rid of this one. X. There we have our low poly stylized tankard. Let's see how it looks. And there we have it, our low poly stylized tankard. I hope you learned something from this today and enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like and share with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell if you want to be notified of any upcoming videos that I upload. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.